You clicked on this video because there's probably one or more areas of your life that are not working out as you had hoped for or dreamed. Heck, you may even be living situations in your life that are so surreal or painful you find yourself thinking, how the hell did I end up here? But remember that even though you may feel stuck or your life may feel unfulfilling or unhappy to you right now, things can change. And by the time you finish watching this video, you'll realize just how fast they can change when you master what I'm about to show you. The reason your life is unfolding exactly as it is right now is because of something called a timeline. And in this video, you'll learn what a timeline is exactly and how it paves the way for your life experiences, your role in creating a timeline, and how you have the power to change it. 4 easy steps to help you change a timeline and shift your life towards more joy, fulfillment, and your highest destiny. And I'll also share 23 life-changing journal prompts that will help you make this shift in record-breaking time. First, what's a timeline? Sometimes people use the word timeline as a synonym for destiny or fate, but these are very different things. Destiny or fate is a potential destination, finish line, or a pinnacle in your life. A timeline is the road you walk towards that destiny. Spiritually, a timeline is the energy path that takes you in a specific direction in life, eventually leading to a destination or outcome. One of the best illustrations of a timeline is found in the classic movie The Wizard of Oz, in which Dorothy and her friends walk down the yellow brick road to eventually meet the great wizard. So the wizard is her destiny, and the yellow brick road is the timeline that takes her there. But although The Wizard of Oz is a good starting point for understanding timelines, it's too simplistic and basic from an energy perspective. So let's dive deeper into the 6 energy rules of timelines to understand how they really work. Rule number 1 is that timelines are flexible. In The Wizard of Oz, the yellow brick road is a set path of bricks that stretches out all the way to the wizard's palace. But in reality, a timeline doesn't stretch out that far in front of you, but rather it unfolds under your feet as you take steps in a specific direction. So timelines are not deterministic or rigid. They appear right in front of your feet as you walk along life. Rule 2 is you co-create your timelines. This is again different from the yellow brick road, which is a road outside of Dorothy and is separate from her. Your timelines are being created by your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, your actions, and ultimately your energy. All of these things combined give you a certain energy frequency, and that energy makes you take a step in a specific direction, and then the timeline appears right under your feet in response to you and your energy. So you have an extraordinary amount of power in the unfolding of your timelines. If you find yourself thinking things like, my karma sucks, I'm destined for failure, or I'm unlucky in life, remember that if you truly believe these disempowering things about yourself, then that energy is what is creating the timeline you're currently on. And so then you become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Bottom line is, pay attention to the energy you're putting out into the world. Rule number 3 is that timelines are made up of energy. That energy is directed by the universe as your co-creative partner, and it's very much alive. A timeline has its own frequency and information that resembles your own energy system. Just like your aura and chakras and all the parts of you that are not seen by the physical eyes, timelines also operate in a quantum reality outside of this time-space reality we can see with our human senses. But they still exist, and just like your aura and chakras, timelines are also filled with information that is downloaded by your human body as you walk on the timeline. Think of it like this. Let's say you're walking down a road, but instead of the road being made out of asphalt, it's actually made of living energy that contains a lot of information about where you're going. As you walk this path, your energy system interacts with it, creating a symbiosis between you and the path. You send information to the path, and it also sends information to you, and together, both of your energies combine to guide you to your destination. Rule number 4 is timelines have momentum. The more you walk down a certain path or do the same thing over and over, the timeline beneath your feet will get bigger and stronger, making it easier to keep walking in the same direction. The flip side of this is that in energy terms, this means the timeline increases momentum, making it harder for you to change directions if you wanted to, at least at first. Let's use trains to illustrate momentum. Imagine a regular train passing by you at a slow speed. If something were to cross the tracks in front of that train, it would probably be able to stop before hitting it because the train is moving slow enough and the brakes don't have to work as hard to stop it. But now imagine a bullet train going full speed ahead. If something were to cross the tracks in front of that train, there's no way it could stop in time before hitting it because it's just going too fast and the brakes would take forever to bring that train to a complete stop. This is energy momentum in a nutshell. Timelines are the same. The more you reinforce the same behaviors and thoughts and energy, the stronger the timeline gets in a specific direction. And the only way for you to weaken the energy of a timeline is to stop thinking, believing, or acting in the same way. If you've been walking a certain timeline for a long time, the energy of that timeline is strong, and it will take a lot of energy strength on your part to stop the timeline and change directions. You can do it, but it may take time and big energy. Rule number 5 is that there are infinite timelines. It is true that the more you walk down a specific timeline, the easier it is to keep going down that path because of the energy momentum behind it. But that does not mean that timelines or destiny are deterministic. It's quite the opposite. There are infinite timelines available to you at any given moment. This may seem crazy to contemplate if you happen to be faced with challenges right now, or if your life is going very differently from what you expected, but it is true. There are so many timelines available to you. It all depends on where you choose to step and how your energy interacts with the universe. Years back, a client came to see me because he was having a scary recurring dream. Let's call him Joe. In the dream, Joe was drunk and he was driving at night down a deserted road when he suddenly fell asleep at the wheel and he hit a light post, dying instantly. He confessed that he was an alcoholic and had been using substances off and on all of his life, and he wanted to know if this nightmare was a view into his future or if it was just a nightmare. I read his energy, and I could see that if he stayed on his current timeline, that's exactly what was going to happen to him. I told him that his soul was trying to get his attention to show him that his current timeline was taking him to this specific destination. But I also told him that he had the power in this situation, that his dream wasn't a rigid look into his future, it was only a possible future. Joe stopped drinking cold turkey after that session, and in the next sessions we started working on the traumas that had led him to substance abuse, and he set a strong intention to the universe. He was ready to change his timeline. The incredible thing is that Joe's recurring nightmare disappeared, and in the next few sessions I could see in his energy that he had completely jumped off of one timeline and was now walking on another. This is the power we all have. We have the power to write and rewrite our stories as many times as we want. And here's an important side note to this story. This is a secret that most psychics or mediums do not share with their clients. But psychics don't predict or see the future of a client. They see one potential future based on the energy that the person presents when they go see the medium. A good medium will always be clear about that. They see and read a person's energy in present, and the good ones will even see where the person's potential timeline is taking them. But the great mediums also see potential parallel or alternate timelines that the client can tap into if they want to. So if you go see a medium and they tell you that a specific thing will happen, that isn't always true. Rule number 6 is there are higher timelines. Although you do have an infinite number of timelines available to you at any given moment, your soul also influences those timelines. Your soul makes plans for a human self before you incarnate, and it consistently tries to influence you to follow certain timelines while you're in physical form. These timelines that the soul prefers are called higher timelines. Sometimes your soul may let you stray from its planned timelines. Sometimes it says, nope, you're gonna go this way. But regardless of how your soul guides you to create certain timelines, you do have many to choose from as a human. But your higher timelines are the ones that will take you to your highest destiny in this life, guided by the wisdom of your soul. And to me, the best way to tap into these higher timelines is to follow this simple mantra. I put my human ego aside and make room for my soul to show me the best timelines for me at any given moment. This will allow you to live your highest timelines always and will prevent you from getting lost in painful parallel timelines that are being created by the wounded human self. Phew! Now that you're a master at understanding timelines, let's get into the juicy part. How do you change your timeline? Here's my simple 4-step process. Step 1 is to ask questions. Asking questions gets you thinking about whether your current timeline is the right one for you or not. It gets you to stop, to contemplate your life, and to start moving energy in a different direction if you do want to change your current timeline. There are many questions you can ask yourself to get this step started, and I've put together a cheat sheet of 23 journal prompts to help you work through your current timeline and start changing how you think and feel about a future timeline. All you have to do is pick a few questions from the cheat sheet or answer them all in your journal. And here's a pro tip. Use an actual journal of paper and pencil or pen, because doing this exercise on paper helps you access parts of your brain and emotions that are harder to come through when you type on a screen. You can click on the link in the description box to download these journal prompts after watching this video. But here are a couple of the questions from that cheat sheet to get you started. How do I feel about my current life trajectory? What areas of my life do I feel most dissatisfied with, and why? Take your time to really feel into these questions and don't just answer them from the mind. Feeling means you're tapping into your heart center, which is the home of your intuition and inner knowing. Another great tip is to doodle first as a way to open up and access repressed feelings or emotions that you may be disconnected from. I like to use one-word doodling as a way to start my journaling, and then when I feel ready, I move into free-form writing to go deeper into the answers I've started doodling about. Step 2 is awareness. Once you get the answers to all the questions I talked about in step 1 on paper, you can see those words, emotions, and feelings on the paper. And this automatically gives you greater clarity and awareness of how your timeline is currently unfolding, and most importantly, why it's unfolding this way. Awareness and clarity are the precursors to actual change. You can only change something on the outside when you understand the mechanisms for doing certain things on the inside. Here's an example of this. Let's say you're in a relationship that is deeply unfulfilling and your intuition has been telling you for a long time that this connection isn't going to work out. But something has been stopping you from taking the steps necessary to end the relationship. When you use the cheat sheet I shared above and start doodling and then writing out the answers from your heart, you start to uncover hidden wounds and beliefs that keep you stuck in this relationship. Maybe in your writing exercise, you discover that you're staying because there's a deep-seated belief that you don't deserve better. When you see those words on paper, it's shocking and maybe even makes you sad. But the clarity you get from seeing those underlying beliefs spelled out on paper changes something. Seeing the words on paper gives you awareness, and that awareness gives you the spark to want to change things. Step 3 is the intention to shift. Remember my client Joe, who was having a recurrent nightmare that he was going to die in a car accident while drunk? He only changed his timeline when he put a strong intention behind it. His old timeline had a strong momentum behind it, and it felt like he was running out of time, so he used all the strength he had inside of him to declare a powerful intention to change. You can't change your timeline, especially if it's one that you've been walking for a long time, by simply saying,
"Oh yeah, I want to change."
You see how that energy is weak and brittle? That can't stop the bullet train that's your current timeline. You need to muster all the strength in you to declare to the universe that you are done with your current timeline and are ready to create another one. This strong intention stops the momentum of a timeline in its tracks and allows you the time and the clarity to help you step into another direction. Here's a powerful mantra to get you started on this step. It is my powerful intention as a multidimensional being of God to shift into a higher timeline now. Step number 4 is called action steps. Steps 1 through 3 are more feminine in nature, requiring you to go inward and feel and sense where your life is and where you want to change it. But now in step 4, you're using powerful masculine energy of action to make things happen on the outside. This is so important because if you just contemplate and listen to your intuition about things that need to change in your life, but don't actually do anything about it, then you become a stagnant being that is stuck in life. Remember that you have to take a step for the new timeline to unfold under your feet. Feminine energy shows you the direction to go in because it's your internal compass, but masculine energy takes the steps on the outside world to make that new timeline come to life. And speaking of timelines and energy, there's more you need to know about a new energy that is operating behind the scenes on the planet and affecting all of our timelines. Watch this video next to find out what this energy is and how to best work with it to help you change your timelines faster.